Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video. I had been married for almost a year now, and it was all well except for a few disagreements between us. We came across each other on social media and started dating a couple of months later. He was the man of my dreams and was just perfect in every aspect. It was just that he was a bit bossy and wanted to control everything. That made our relationship tough at times because I was someone who enjoyed space and independence and loved to have control over things that concern me directly. We have been head over heels for each other, and that made it easy for us to accept each other the way we were. We dated for almost 2 years before we got married. I got hired by a reputable company, and it was an amazing job with a hefty salary. I felt like my husband felt insecure and doubted that I was going to dump him. I made sure to make him feel validated and assured him that I was not going anywhere, but he had taken that to his heart. He would often say that he did not deserve me and I was wasting my time with a loser. Let me mention that he had a good job too, but he just earned less, and that was not a problem for me. It was my birthday when he proposed to me, and I said yes. My mom was a bit concerned and told me that I should reconsider as people with insecurities turn out to be toxic most of the time, but I did not listen to her. My sister would never skip a chance to criticize my relationship and would tell me that my relationship was never going to work as it was not balanced. I knew she was jealous, as she had broken up recently and could not stand our lovey-dovey relationship. She would call us cheap and cliché whenever she would see us clinging around each other. I ignored her remarks and told her to mind her own business. Despite calling us names and making fun of our relationship, my sister would act weirdly and over-friendly with my husband. And when I asked her what was going on, she told me that she was only trying to make him feel welcome. Anyways, we got married and my husband had grown calmer. He did not get anxious or ask me if I was happy with him or wanted to part ways. I knew he felt secure and was content after we got married. A couple of months after our wedding, my husband got an offer from a company who was paying better, but it was in Missouri. We had a house here. I had to be at my job, and it seemed very difficult to move to another state. I talked to my husband, and he became aggressive and told me that I only thought about myself and was jealous of his progress. I told him that it was not easy for me to move with him, to which he replied that I could stay here and stick to my job as it was everything I cared for. My husband moved to Missouri while I started trying to get a transfer to that state's branch because I wanted to move there with him. I did not tell him about that. I wanted to surprise him. It was a bit difficult, but I was able to get a transfer and was all set to go to Missouri. When I reached there and called my husband to pick me up, he told me that he was sending the address and I could go by myself as he was busy in the office. I reached the address but had to wait as I had no keys. When my husband arrived, he did not seem happy, and I could see he didn't want to see me there. I kept asking if he was not happy, but he said that he was just tired and the new job was tough. Only a month passed and my husband announced that he was facing difficulty in adjusting in Missouri and was planning to move back. I was shocked, because I could not risk my career and he was acting kiddish. I told him that I was not going anywhere and he could go wherever he wanted to. He resigned the next day and was all set to go back while I was stuck and could not leave the place. That night I saw texts on my husband's phone telling him that he was being missed and someone could not wait for him to return. In just a moment, everything started making sense. I did not say anything, and when he was leaving, I told him that it might be the last time we were seeing each other. My husband texted me that he had reached safely and was missing me. I didn't respond to his texts and did not even pick up the calls. My husband kept asking me what was wrong, but I was just done. I called him and told him that we were over, and he could go to the woman who was missing him. He said that I was being delusional and was imagining things. I yelled at him and told him to never contact me again. He said that I was just looking for a reason to dump him because he was jobless and I could find better. I hung up without saying anything. I found out that I was expecting, and that hit me like a thunderbolt. I was clueless as my relationship was ending, and I did not want to get back with that man. I called my mom and cried my heart out. She told me that I should visit her, and then we would discuss things. She also said that I might be imagining things as those were just texts and they could be from anyone. I was calmer, and then my sister spoke to me. My sister told me that she knew my relationship was not going to work as my husband was not compatible with me. She told me that I should not keep the child and should get rid of it. I'm going to visit my mom next weekend, and I have decided to keep my child. I was at my mom's place when my phone rang, and someone on the other side told me that my husband had tried to kill himself and was currently in an emergency. I asked about the hospital and then rushed with my mom. My husband was admitted and was under observation. My mom told me that he was upset when my mom told him that I was not getting back with him. I was worried, but still did not change my mind. My mom kept lecturing me and told me that I could not end my relationship after seeing a few text messages. She said that I had to trust him as he was obsessed with me and could not even think of living without me. She also told me to consider my child's future. I was quiet, but I had a lot of questions regarding those texts. I was certain that there was some woman, and she was in this state. My sister came after a while and told me that I did not have to waste my time and it was better to move on as he was definitely cheating. She said that she had noticed a change in my husband's behavior and he was not worth the effort. I'm back at home and my husband is doing better than before and we will be discharged soon. I need to do some investigation as I cannot give him a chance without being sure. So, my husband was discharged. And my mom brought him to her place so that she could take care of him. I looked after him, but could not behave like before. I stayed around him and kept an eye on his phone. I told my mom that I was going to share the room with him as I needed to spend time with him to sort things out. When my husband was asleep, I got my hands on his phone and checked it thoroughly. You guys will not believe what I discovered that night. I found selfies of my husband with my sister, and some of them were really intimate. I read their chats and discovered that they were in a relationship for a good long time. I also came to know that my mom knew everything about that, as my sister had texted that mom was going to handle me as well. When I opened my mom's chat on my husband's phone, I found out that she was worried that I would catch them, and it would be a disgrace to our family if an outsider got to know about my husband being involved with my sister. Everything made sense after that. My sister wanted me to divorce my husband while my mom wanted to conceal everything by pushing me to stay with him. I went to my mom's room and told her that she was the worst of all and I was leaving forever. I'm back and going to file for divorce as I cannot even think of those pieces of filth. My mom kept dropping texts and told me that she tried to stop them and even threaten them, but they were way too involved. I called her and asked her why she had not told me. She said that she was scared of society and could not face me. I asked her if my ex-husband had literally tried to attempt suicide or if it was just a part of the plan. My mom didn't answer. I told her that she had to deal with the disgrace and hung up. I posted each detail on Facebook with the selfies I had forwarded to my phone from my husband's and even tagged the culprits. I have filed for divorce already, and I am sure the case will be judged soon. I blocked all three of them and even switched my apartment as I did not want to see any of them ever. I still cannot understand why I deserve such a shitty family. NTA. Oh my God, I cannot believe that OP had to go through all that stuff. She did not have any idea what was going on against her, and that too by her own family. Her instincts were correct, and she was clever to take the decision far before everything came out. OP acted like a strong woman and took charge of the situation. Exposing those psychopaths on Facebook was a great idea. NTA, OP's whole family were the a-hole, and each was better than the other. How could OP's mom hide everything from her just to save the dignity which was already being destroyed by OP's sister? How did she expect to conceal everything and manage the situation when everything was already out of hand? I don't even want to talk about OP's husband and sister. Disgusting people. My husband's sister and I have a tricky relationship. My husband and I struggled to have our son, suffering 2 miscarriages and 2 years of infertility on top of that, but we got our boy. Sister-in-law doesn't believe we're strict enough as parents. She's got a very different style, a style we don't personally like or agree with, but that's what she prefers and all that. We've been upfront that we do not want her disciplining or correcting our son because stuff she dislikes is stuff that we're fine with. She has been good about that until 3 weeks ago. My husband and sister-in-law's husband were out back and my son was painting in the playroom. We're okay with messy painting, with clothes getting paint on them and general mess when it comes to creativity, as long as it's done in the designated space. My son was covered in paint and was mixing paint with his hands when sister-in-law started telling him off for making a mess and destroying his clothes. She was loud enough for our husbands to hear, and I stepped in right away and told her to stop it, that he's allowed to do that in our home and that she needs to leave the parenting of my child to me and my husband. She told us we couldn't do much parenting when our son was in tears because she told him off, which he was. My husband stepped in at this point and told her that she was loud and probably startled and confused him. She said I was a bitch for speaking to her like she was some stranger picking on a kid. She and her husband left. And then she went and told everyone that I was rude to her and treated her like some monster. I feel like I handled it as calmly as I could given the overstep. AITA? And just in case people ask what other stuff she's bothered by regarding parenting, we don't have our son in a sport, and she's big on competitive sports for kids. We're encouraging him to help out with food and take part in deciding what we eat each week. And I think the biggest of all is while he has a bedtime, he can read in bed for longer than she'd ever agree to because she doesn't believe it's good. Our son is always asleep when we go to bed, so we're not concerned, but she hates it. That's the kind of stuff where she believes we spoil him. NTA, she sounds like a controlling mom who yells at their coaches when her kids are benched. You didn't treat her like a monster. You corrected her bad behavior. She took away from that encounter that she's a monster, probably because she acts like one. That's all on her internal side. You didn't say that. She should change that about herself if she feels like her behavior makes her a monster. If I were a little kid, I'd much rather have you as a mom. Letting your son be a kid in a designated spot is perfectly healthy and none of her business. NTA, your sister-in-law seems to think she's an authority figure for your family. I'm guessing she's the older sibling. Newsflash, you're all adults now and peers. It's time to have a talk, away from your kids or other family members with the four of you, and maybe hand her a copy of the Personal Bill of Rights. Her rights stop at the end of her nose. She has no say in your parenting or discipline for your children, nor should she be sharing her opinions on sports, leisure, or other life choices. If she doesn't like that, that's okay. Her satisfaction is not your responsibility. The boundary you should set with her is to never raise her voice at your kid again, and if she sees something that she thinks is amiss, and this doesn't involve actual physical danger, her first response from now on is get you or your husband. Then step back and let you handle it. Cards on the table. My wife, 36, female, and I, 42, male, have been together for 7 years, married for 6, and are likely to end in divorce. We're in couples therapy, and I'm in individual therapy. She refuses to go separately. I've been the doormat in our relationship for a long time because I was a depressed nerd who just wanted someone to love them. I messed up. I'm trying to work things out, especially for our daughter, but it's come to the point I know I'm the only one trying. I don't want to be an ass. I want to make things work, so I guess that's why I'm here. If I'm wrong, I want to fix it and at least maintain some peace. This was our latest fight. My wife has been friends with M since high school. I like her. She's laid back and just a nice person. She's married to H. Again, a nice, laid-back person. They're good friends to have. M is a lot different from my wife, and I think some things get my wife insecure, which also makes her competitive. My wife and I are very privileged to have both our parents living and healthy and also willing to help with our daughter. We also both have large families who are willing to help. My wife is very anti daycare. Thankfully, I make enough so my wife can live comfortably as a stay at home mom, but will drop off our daughter with her parents or mine when she needs her time. My parents are both in rehab clinics and very unstable. H's parents are deceased. They have 3 kids. H works part time, and M owns her own business and operates it from home. 2 days a week, their kids go to daycare. They explain that they need their time to unwind and for each other, but most importantly, they want their children to socialize and explore, as they did not get to as kids, and they do not have family to help. My wife is very vocal about her feelings. They're quiet on the matter. I've told her to stop many times, but she's persistent. Of course, it got brought up again when we were discussing swim lessons for the kids. My wife joked she didn't get why M and H were even considering putting their kids into swim lessons, as their kids aren't even home. They're at daycare. She kept pushing and broke the camel's back when she said that she could never hand her children off to strangers like they do. Her strong maternal instincts just won't allow it. And here's where it got bad. In front of M and H, I said to my wife, she pawns off our daughter almost every other day to her mom and dad, so she needs to stop treating me like a horrible mom, when she clearly is not always a great one herself. AITA? I was a doormat of a nerd who just wanted someone to love them, had a shitty marriage that ended in divorce, so I got my depression diagnosed, got stable on medication, quit drinking, passed law school, made it through a year of invasive character and fitness investigation, met a new girl, got engaged, frequently forget that means we should get married at some point, got 2 adorable dogs, toy Aussies, bought a house. It gets better, dude. Stick it out. If nothing else, outlive those who'd want to see you fail. NTA, you didn't say that people who use their parents to help out with their kids are bad parents. But you did bring it to her level and show her that she isn't the model mother either. I'm happy you stuck up for your friends. Also, you don't have to agree with your spouse just because they're your spouse. You are different people and allowed to have different opinions.